Hi, I'm Andy Kim from SKKU in Seoul, Korea, and thank you very much for giving me to discuss this great paper done by Scott Murray and Xiao and Xia, Charting by Machines. Let me lower down your expectation first because I'm not a machine learning guy. I am empirical behavioral corporate finance guy who is interested in picture mining. Okay, about CEO's face and facial masculinity or facial expression, that kind of stuff. But technical analysis has some visual attraction in it, which naturally gravitated to me. It's like a visual pattern recognition is a basic instinct, no matter how hard you study in those rational school or whatever. Okay, it's deeply rooted in the evolutionary process. Among our ancestors, those who were faster in pattern recognition had better chance of survival, and that became me and you, everybody, right? That same instinct pops up even when we do stock market investments, which is the situation when we have to make the most rational, unbiased decision making. Um, and Jagadish had this comment in his paper 2000. Discussions with practitioners suggested that chartists tend to use signals from patterns in price history in conjunction with other information to time their trades. Not only the institutional investors, but also myself or individual investors will feel that way. For me, before I click that buy button or sell button, I have to look at the stock price chart and convince myself that it's going to go up for whatever reason. No matter how hard I studied about that, the fundamentals, DCF, or relative valuation. It's common, I guess, right? Am I the only one? Andy Lowe is here. Hello. And then he has a paper about technical analysis in Journal of Finance. He said like this: the presence of geometric shapes in historical price charts is often in the eyes of the beholder. So he said the shapes. I'm in love with the shape of you, just like Ed Sheeran's song. Technical analysis is just like this. His Ed Sheeran's music video, he is preparing to fight against a boxer, right? Some kind of a boxer, like Mike Tyson kind of shape. Okay, he was preparing that kind of shape, but all of a sudden he had to fight against a sumo wrestler, unprepared shape, unexpected, and that you know gave him, he had to, could not do anything and lost. And this kind of goes in together with the idea of EMH as well. No matter how hard you study about the existing pattern that you learned there, it's not going to work, so give up. That's the idea of EMH, guys, anyway. But nevertheless, Andy Law says technical analysis has survived through the years, perhaps because its visual mode of analysis is more conducive to human cognition, and because pattern recognition is one of the few represented repetitive activities for which computers do not have an absolute advantage yet, he said 20 years ago. Not anymore. Deep learning is here, CNN, etc. is here, and this paper is addressing it. So that's why I liked it very much, right? Summary of this paper. The authors bring deep learning into testing weak form EMH using monthly CRISP data over the period of 27 to 19. They find that technical analysis, which has been largely ignored by the believers of weak form EMH, strongly predicts the cross-section of future stock returns. The predictive power is strong even for the largest 500 stocks in the US. Oh my God. And the results are robust throughout various subsample periods. They also find that what they are documenting is not explained away by momentum or reversal. Thoroughly done, great. Machine learning, 96 processes. It's a combination of or multiplication of the following: four architectures like FNN, feed forward neural network, or convolution neural network, STM, long short-term memories, and then combination of these two. Two loss functions, mean squared error, mean absolute error, that's L2 space, L1 space, this measures, and then three loss function weight schemes, equal weighted, and then things like that. Four dependent variables. That's return, excess return. I label it as Rx, but that's it. Um, Cross-sectional return test. I mean, 96 in combination, right? Um, Cross-sectional return test. Oh my God, thoroughly done, right? No wonder Scott Murray. There's a paper. There's a book about empirical asset pricing. This is a textbook for the future. Yes. So he's the Lord of the Ring. So that's something I cannot argue against. What I liked about this paper is table 5, testing whether the pattern in the distant past repeats itself so that you can make money out of it. So the pattern that you found 50 years ago seems like it's working again in this decade. Wow, that implication is very sexy. Okay. Now, major comment, right, is here. Number one, what is in that black box? As long as you are using that machine learning, this kind of comments you will find have it everywhere. CNN is best for grid-like topology. They say, of course, I know that you are working with what is that? A combination of this guy with LSTM or something, right? But basically, the starting point CNN is good for image classification. So I thought you were doing with like hardcore picture mining or graph mining with some colors and this and that. So I was like, cool, finally, but it seems like not. Um, RNN is good for one-dimensional time series data, which you are working on. Okay, LSTM, CNN, LSTM, all the good things. That's great. Okay, but well, CNN, right? Or neural network at least. Just to give a background to the audience who are not familiar with this one, who are curious about it. Well, this is the way I understand it. And then the great explanation is available in the YouTube 3B, 1B, right? As a series of uh, motion pictures about it. And then the grid-like topology, right, is best suited for, I mean, what CNN is best suited for. Handwritten number recognition is an example over here. Number 3, somebody wrote it, and then it's recognized in a 28 by 28 grid. Okay, that's 784 pixels. That's input layer. This layer, input layer, will be on the left-hand side, and then that's 784 numbers will be there. And then there will be a hidden layer. How many layers does it have? We don't know. But input layer and a hidden layer, and then output layers will be there. The output layer has to be something, the sum of the, here in this numbers, digits, 0 to 9, 10, right? 10 activation node is there, right? Now, two hidden layers, and then each layer has 16 nodes. Hidden layers, how many layers you put, it depends on the researcher's, subjectivity maybe, or researcher's purposes. And then here in this example is 16 different nodes for each different hidden layer. And then final layer, I told you about that. And then essentially, each activation node will have a value about related to this color or the brightness of this, so that the darkest cell will be 0, brightest cell being 1, and then at the end you want to end up with number 3 if it looks like number 3, and just trying to find a way to do it. Okay. And then that's the basic way of neural network, as if they are a network of decision making neuron kind of things in the computer. Many things in the box, black box, I would say. Nodes, weights, and biases, and sigmoid function or ReLU function, or gradient descent, and then back propagation, and all this kind of chain rules and convolution matrix and sliding, all this kind of technique gets in over there. But what you choose, okay, matters a lot. And then you want to disclose it more, I think, so that all the audience and then the readers will learn together and then delve into that machine learning field, right? RNN is good for, yes. How many output nodes do you have? I want to ask you questions, and then how many hidden layers do you have, right? I guess your internet appendix is doing that, but you need to make it more explicit, perhaps sketch of it in a body text. Curse of dimensionality may be a concern, might be a concern in the to, depending on your specification, I guess. In number recognition, 2 hidden layers, each layer has 16 nodes and 10 output nodes, and that tells you that you'll have to estimate 13,000 parameters, right? Okay. If your data is not big enough, then you will end up overfitting in that case, right? So why monthly frequency wise, right? Why not microstructure level analysis? Because it's going to be obviously a lot of data will be there. And then not only that, but also when you do technical analysis, when you're looking at the chart, you are not only looking at monthly return and monthly cumulative abnormal return, but you are more concerned about short-term day-by-day return. Candlestick chart, you see that? Not only day-by-day returns, but also minute by minute. So it can be arbitrarily bigger data. And why not use bigger data? Because that CNN wants bigger data. Need better motivation than following the convention of cross-sectional stock return literature. When would an investor pay more attention to charting? We'll have to ask questions like this, right, beforehand. And how effective is it in what time span? Is it short horizon investment, like day trading, or long horizon investment, like 10 years trading, like Warren Buffett? Okay, or something in between. I don't know, but that's going to be an interesting questions in the future. I see a whole literature coming up with this, right? Why big stocks, the limits of arbitrage, right, matters. That's the second point, okay? If you are finding a charting anomaly, it should be more pronounced for smaller stocks, higher eyeball stocks, etc., etc. But you are documenting that the effect is stronger for big stocks and that top 500 stocks. It would be better if you explain why your results should be stronger for big stocks. Okay. Um, yeah, and then the limits of arbitrage. Yeah, to me, it would be much more convincing if you find this even stronger results for difficult to arbitrage stocks. This is because individual investors may be relatively more driven by technical analysis, like instinctively, right? Animal spirit, yeah, and then institutional investors, bookstores, I mean, that is institutional investors. Like individual investors, they go to bookstores and then the Barnes and Noble or, bookstore everywhere in the world, right? Even in Korea or Singapore. In the stock investment section, what's easiest to find is the book about technical analysis, copy trading kind of books, easiest accessible place. They are over there. So non-trivial issue, okay? So, and then individual investors, according to Alok Kumar, they're more likely to invest in small stocks and penny stocks and lottery-like stocks. So your results, if it is more salient for smaller stocks, I think you have a goal. The limits of arbitrage, yeah, my guess is that the lower lottery-like stocks have highly positive skewness in their returns. However, in your ML process at the output layers, you are squelching down the effect of extreme returns by using rank number in transformation processes to get the dependent variable. I, I understand that you are more concerned about this portfolio-based analysis of conventional the expected return, cross-section of stock return analysis part. But to the extent that this is more about the individual investor appealing, then I think you should take another avenue, I guess. Another major comments are like this. Why doesn't the anomaly get diminished over time, right? Nobody was trading on it or needs some explanation, I guess, at least. And then if it is not going to be graph mining, right? Technical analysis is more like using conventional data, numerical matrix, one-dimensional grid, right? Then why should we bother to use machine learning? You need either have better motivation to use machine learning or to do hardcore graph image mining, I think, right? Um, you use CR1 through CR12 to forecast future returns and form portfolios. This becomes similar to linear spline regression in some sense. Um, a linear spline function in some sense, which would be capturing enough of non-linearity. So instead of CNN, you could have achieved close results by using OLS-based machine learning. Why bother CNN, right? Maybe a question like just to be a referee, right? Minor comments, right? Referee police, I guess, right? Minor comments. The authors say that they find the relation between past and future returns is highly nonlinear because the average R squared they find in table 9 is only 37% or something. I think this is a bit of a stretch to claim nonlinearity simply because of R squared being low. I think the author should at least demonstrate some nonlinear functions of the explanatory variables like quadratic or cubic terms or transcendental functions, or the previous slide shows that you have already the 12 spline kind of things right over there, so that can be a good argument, I guess. Minor comments. Another one is about your table 7 upper diagonal, right? Why do you need those cells? Lower diagonal, below diagonal, I can see that what this stat is for, right? But the upper diagonal, I have a hard time understanding it. Minor comments, another one, when you do value weighting of excess returns of all stocks in the portfolio, shouldn't you base your weight on that market cap 12 months before, T minus 12? Why take the market value of T minus 1, given that your return starts from 12 months before instead of 1 month ago? Wouldn't this mechanically overweight the stocks outperformed in the recent 11 months, maybe prior to that T minus 1, even though you control for momentum? Just curious. Another one is just curious how many of the stocks are available from the beginning to the end of the sample period. Age of the company, does it matter? Kind of idea is there. Contribution and food for thoughts to me and to the audience based on this paper. Well, number one, technical analysis has been largely ignored or overlooked due to the EMH-based neoclassical economics training, but has been widely used in practice. A lot of things to do over here, I think. We cannot just ignore, right? Think about the fintech effort that we are trying to study, right? It could be a part of a fintech when you're developing an app, right? You cannot ignore the guy's desire, the girl's, the guy's desire to look at the chart, right? How influential is it? Deep learning enabled us to use visual pattern recognition technology to test EMH with charting. Wow. You did cross-sectional portfolio approach, but I became more interested in stock level time series prediction. Is the repetition of price history more salient for younger firms or older firms? The EMH predicts, younger firms, but your results may be indicating the other way around. Oh my God. Is the repetition of price history more salient for certain life cycle or some periods for some group of firms? You said the sub period analysis is robust throughout, but I'm not talking about that whole group of it, but depending on the group of industry by industry, or is there some pattern, okay, commonly shared? Anyway, that's could be some extensions in the future. Getting back to Andy Lowe's comment, right? Technical analysis is primarily visual, whereas quantitative finance is primarily algebraic and numerical. Um, and you brought charting into algebraic quant finance. That's a great contribution. Great to find big anomaly. But personally, I wish academic research papers in charting were more visual with CNN, right? Um, just to be consistent with what they do. And then getting back to Ed Sheeran's music video, at the final cut, you see another one challenging the sumo wrestler like this. I think this is like you. I think that's awesome. So good luck with your paper. Welcome to the world to your baby, Scott. And then thanks for giving me this great chance to discuss your paper. Bye bye.